3 o'clock. I hope everybody's doing well, except by my watch, it's 6:17 Wednesday afternoon. I hope everybody is having a good week. We've got some great stuff to talk about today. Um, we're going to go long. So we're just going to go long. That's the way it is. But we've got some good stuff to go over. But right off the bat, we've got a comment here, and I wanted to read this right off the bat, right at the top. Brandon Heron Leatherworks. Our leather community spans the globe and is one of the most supportive and well-rounded group of folks. You know what? I absolutely agree. Jan, Bob, Carl, Tim, look at all this. Max, y'all, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Your excitement makes me excited. Chuck time, Jan. Very cool. Thank you. The little bit left of his statement says today in their shop is a design day. I hope you're all working on something fun. I agree. I hope everybody's got something good on their work table, something to look forward to. Um, okay, so some news. We bumped up our speed. I've got us hardwired in. We bumped up our speed, so I hope our quality is going to be a little bit better. The shot's still awful. I don't know what to do on that, but anyway, so our speed's up, and I hope that's going to help everybody out, give everybody a good picture. The boss says picture quality is the best I've seen. It looks awesome. Yay. Okay. So we are on. Everybody, I hope everybody's doing good. We're halfway through the week. It's Wednesday afternoon. Yay. So, okay. So I'm going through all the comments from the previous week. So sometimes there's a bit of a lull, from week to week, but I've got some comments here. Clay Guinard, is that from Maine? Hello, right back to you, man. Thank you for being here. Oh, look at this. Mark, Brian Hudson. Hey, right back to you, and you are welcome on the videos. I've been really busting it. So there's no organization to today's live. Well, there never has been. So why even say that? Anyway, I'll get to that because I've got a bunch. I've really been bumping it up on the videos, trying to get some good ones put together. Got a good one I just finished this morning that's very cool. From time to time, I can get excited about these. We've got a really cool trick or whatnot. Yeah, Jeremy Alexander, thank you. Muriel Cantarero. That's all. Well, good. Well, bless your heart. Thank you. Daniel Abelman. Hey, all. Hey, right back to you. Exactly. The first statement. What a great group of people. I've always believed that people with a craft are the most happy, sane, well-rounded people. You know what? I don't know why. I don't know what the psychological or scientific reason for that is. It's just my theory, but I think it's right. Does anybody else agree with me? James Finnegan, hello back to you. Wisconsin, Daniel up in Wisconsin. Boy, is that beautiful country. Let's see, Alan Phillips, Jacksonville. Very cool. I bet it's hot. It's hot here. It's hot there. It's hot everywhere. I love summer. I love summer. I like it more than winter, but I complain. I'm going to complain. That's the way it is. But let's step away from it today. Lebanon, they need our prayers badly. We'll come back to that. But let's see. Okay. All right. So on this, let's see. The Bayerberg from London. Hello to you. Charles Abbott. Now, these are from last week, so I'm trying to catch up. I think there was 48 pages of comments, and I do read every one of them. I absolutely do, and I'll pull out the ones that I want to mention for the next week. So, y'all, if I don't get yours in here, I've read it. I absolutely have. There's just so many. Thank you. Yay. Y'all drive this thing. So, let's see. Matthew Pusick. I hope I'm saying that right. Hello from Illinois. And here's a great comment. Hope all my crafting friends are having a blessed day. I hope that same thing. And yes, thank you very much. Jan Lull. Okay, here's a good one. She's right on. I always need to feel a piece of leather to get inspired. Isn't that the truth? You put that between your fingers, and all of a sudden you can just picture all the great projects that come out of this. Not enough time in the day to make everything I want to make out of leather, and I bet you feel the same way. If I'd fallen into that independently rich thing, I was starting to give up on it. But if I would do nothing but hang in this shop and make everything I wanted. Okay, I got to do this working for a living thing, and it kind of cuts into the middle of my day. But nonetheless, okay. So let's see. Charles Abbott. Hi, Chuck, and everybody at Weaver. very cool, y'all. Got some great comments here and some funny ones too. Got some good questions. I've copied those over to my script here, so we'll go on. We'll go over those too. Let's see. Okay, this week's theme. I'm broaching this one. I've been back and forth with it because we're going to talk about pricing our product or a project. I can't tell you how. I've got a lot of information I can certainly pitch into the mix. Um, but we'll get there. You cross over, and you know what? I was going to say let's stop there and we'll come back to that, but I'm not going to do what TV does to us. If you ever watched a movie, you're watching a movie, you're all into it, and bam, there's a commercial. It's almost like they say, stop watching that stupid movie and watch this commercial. It really irritates me. So I'm not going to do that to y'all. But equipment, that's the difference between a hobby and actually selling our products. Now we can still go handmade. Absolutely. But if we add some equipment in there, makes all the difference in the world. But we're going to go into that in detail here pretty shortly. I'm already behind. Y'all, hello to every person. I may not see all these today, but I will certainly read every comment. Most likely tomorrow. Let's see. Moby Brickflex, hello back to you. And I'm sure everybody is saying hello. Howling Mad. Oh, dude, glad you're here. Hope you're having a good week. I hope everybody is. Let's see. Crafter fail. I've got some crafter fails here, but let's see. We'll jump forward on this before I lose it. Okay, Bob. Let's see. I mismeasured my thread length for the final part of a bifold. Realized very late into it. Had to unpick. Oh man, it's not funny, but you know what? It will be. I'm actually got one on here where somebody mentioned that it's going to leave a scar. Yeah, I know. Done the same thing. I've gotten to where I'll cut twice what I need just because I've done that, and you hide a knot and start over. What a headache. It happens. And again, for the new folks, craft or fail, well, it's kind of for us because it's therapeutic. Yeah, everybody makes mistakes. The point here is sometimes they're funny mistakes, and we laugh about it and we move on. Sometimes they're catastrophic, and I've got one here. I might have a little advice that could help you out there, or if that project's already done or you already started a new one, maybe that'll help somebody else out. So we'll come around to that. I know I got so much to say here, and totally unorganized. It's these are unorganized, and I've got a product of the week here. Didn't talk to the boss. Let's just roll with it and see where we go. How about that? We've got some funny stuff here. We'll talk about it in pricing our projects. Yeah, there's a comment that I've gotten a number of times. It blows my mind, but it's funny as crafters. From those of us who know what goes into creating a product, this one just comes out of left field, but I got a good response for you. Yeah, we'll come back around to that. All right, so this week's theme, we're going to talk about pricing our projects or our products. A lot of variables in there, and we'll get into that. Okay, we'll jump over to that. In other news, okay, so we this Friday, day after tomorrow, we've got a leather element coming out on the Easy Edge strap edger. Love this little thing. Falls right into our theme there of adding some equipment to our shop, affordable, but equipment that we can still say handmade. Absolutely. So we'll come around to that. Let's see. I finished one because we have so many questions on glue. Where should I use it? What should I use? We've got a video, a leather element coming out where I started, we're just going to do a little overview of some glue, and it's going to be 4 or 5, 13 minutes. I didn't shut up. So, but a lot of different angles, a lot of ways to apply glue, what works best where. So in my shop, just my opinion. Finished this morning on one for creative borders. Once in a while, I get excited about some of these videos. Now, I'm not bored with them, but I've tried to make it, you've probably heard me say, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it easy. Let's learn the pattern. Well, yes, that's the point. But a lot of times if I don't add decoration in there, the video to me is a little bit flat. It's a little bit flat. We're still getting the information we need, and we can build on that. But I want to decorate these projects so bad. So anyway, the point there is I just finished one this morning on creative borders. Now, everybody else will have to wait. But y'all can see, is that not a cool border? How little hearts with a red backing on that, and it is simply done with two end punches or two English point punches and a round hole. So, and there's some more on that. There's some cool designs there. So we've got that one done, and tomorrow I'm going to jump over to a Bund style watch band. This one's been a problem for me. They all are. Getting prepped because I want it to be perfect. Yeah, it never is, but anyway. So with this, I wanted to make a Bund style watch band that's top-notch professional that we would see on a watch face at a store, right? Well, the problem there is now we're working with multiple thicknesses of leather. So therefore I need a backing. But at the same time, I need a face leather that's going to be thin enough to where I can stop that backing, bend that around the spring bar on the watch, and then sew that back on. My point there is, crafters, I don't want to load us up with a bunch of different leathers to simply make a single project because weight is critical on this. A wrist is always a problem because we have so little room to work. We've got maybe 2 inches, then we make a 180-degree bend. Then we've got 2 inches where we've got to drop in a buckle, a bend back, and a keeper. So a lot going on in a little bit of space. But I think we've got it nailed. I think I got just the right leather, and it's sold in panels. So we don't have to buy a side or a hide. We can get a small panel, probably make 4 or 5 of these out of that. So anyway, all right. So those are the videos that that I'm working on or finished or about to start working on. One bit of news, Preston Orr, I think we got an answer to you last week. Somebody chimed in. Yeah, the Blade Show's been canceled this year, so we won't be there. Actually, everything's been canceled this year. We're hoping the Ren Fair is still on, and we're keeping our fingers crossed because, again, we'll circle back to that. But the Ren Fair vendors, breaking my heart. No fairs, no sales. But more than that, they sell throughout the year, not just at booths. Well, if nobody's going to fair, then nobody's buying online to go to a fair. So, prayers there as well. So many places need our prayers these days. Walk away from it for a second. Okay, let's see. I know, look at all this. I went nuts when I was sitting, reading all the comments. I kept copying into this and copy into that. All right, crafter fail of the week, Bob. Yeah, you've got one there. Again, maybe this is therapeutic. Maybe we can laugh at our mistakes. A lot of good things can come from this. We talk about them, save other people making that mistake, those that are new. We can save them from a catastrophic mistake, which at the very worst could just turn somebody off of leather. Yeah, that's the worst case scenario. We don't want that. Mistakes are going to happen. Learning curve, all that. Yeah, blah, blah. When I make a bad mistake, that flies out the window. I'm unhappy. I don't care, learning or whatever. I'm unhappy. But you know what? We correct it and we move on. Sometimes we can save it. Other times, I got a big box of failed. We're not going there, but it's a big box. Let's say that and move on. All right. So let's see. Okay. Guns and Diesel 419. Hello, Chuck. Had a fail last night. My sewing machine was in reverse instead of forward. I don't mean to laugh at your pain. Yes, I know. But it's so surprising because everything goes the opposite of what your brain is thinking. So many things in leather work are like this. Okay, let's see. Christian Matchett. All right, so crafting fail of the week. Okay, this makes me feel good too because I'm not the only one tossing out these. Yeah, in fact, in the Borders video, there's a fail in that, and I actually show it. You'll see. It's funny. You don't think about it until I mention it, and then you can't stop looking at it. Okay, but anyway, so I made my first tote following the Weaver video from a few months ago, riveted my strap handles on incorrectly. Yeah, I've done that before. Did you drill them out, right? Well, we can drill them out, replay. All right, but even worse, had to drill them out and then remake one of them. Man, let's see, on that same note from Christian, same thing. I haven't tried another phone case yet from another comment. Still scarred from the first one. It was still scarred. I've even got that in red because that's exactly still scarred. Don't let them get you down. If you're new to leather, it happens. You know, trudge on. Take what you learned and move on. And you in no time, you will be making beautiful work. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Uriel Cantarero. Okay. Once tried to make a cell phone case out of 8 to 9 ounce leather. Well, it would work if it's a really big cell phone. Same here. That's how we learn our weights. We make something too thick. I know, but sometimes it's the only leather we have in our shop. We're hot to work on a project. We pick it up and we try our best. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's a fail. That's all right. That happens. Let's see one more under notes, previous notes. I missed this one. Andrew Jordan, you are more than welcome. You're absolutely more than welcome for the headshot. I appreciate you asking very much so. Okay, so I know I've fallen behind over here. Let's see, refresh. Okay, we got somebody that lost out. In fact, let me take a sip of tea here. I used some mints. I ate a couple of mints because I'm going to talk fast and hard and long. Not working today. Oh man, Yellow Clayman, my fail was a skiver that cut too deep, sliced my strap in half. R.I.P. Man, no kidding. Put that one in the scrap bin. We'll use it for glue pads or something. We'll use that leather. We paid for it. We're going to use it somewhere. Okay, so fail of the week. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, piece of mint. They happen. Mistakes happen. We can laugh about it. We can talk about it, bring it out. There's mistakes I'm not going to bring up. Yeah, and we probably all have those. But anyway, okay. All right, so moving over. Homework. All right. Somebody mentioned, and this is funny because I put this in because we're doing craft fails. Let's see. Okay, from last week, making mistakes. Good point. We'll see every mistake, but no one else will. Yeah, this is a good point. Like if we're tooling, we make a small mistake, or with me, a stitch is a little bit longer than the other one. It's going to make us crazy, right? We'll see it, but no one else is going to notice that because they're looking at this big, beautiful project and their eyes are not going to settle on something like that. Now, a side note to that, all right, if we give something to a friend or coworker or relative for Christmas, say Christmas, and they look at it and they think, Chuck, that stitch is I might get their gift at a convenience store next year if they're lucky, right? So I've never had that happen, and we don't. But anyway, it's a funny side note. Yeah, they might get a card next year, maybe. I might splurge. Let's see. Okay. Notes from the boss. Okay. We have got the Deluxe 4-piece snap and rivet setter set. This is the one I use in a lot of the videos. Let's see. On sale now, 15%. When you use the promo code SETTER, that's capital SETTER. The good thing about this set, big and solid, they're going to last longer than we will. But the point is, we've got line 20, line 24, segment, and rivet. That pretty much covers it. And we've got a good anvil with that too. And I use that in most of my videos simply because everything's right there. So yeah, the Deluxe 4-piece snap and rivet setter. That's a lot to say, but that's on sale right now, 15% off. And those tools are going to last forever. We've got a question coming up that somebody that's having trouble with their line 20 snaps. Me too. We'll come back around to that. Those make me crazy. Segmas, on the other hand, used to make me crazy. Now I love them. So, okay. Let's see. Psycho Killer Squirrel. Gotta laugh at that, right? Do you have an email we can send questions or discussions to? No, not necessarily direct to me, but on our website, there's a contact us. And just send questions or emails or comments. You can go straight to there. And up front, they'll disperse to wherever that needs to go. So let's see. Okay. Notes from the boss. All right. Tool of the week. We're going to talk about the Little Wonder. Now, I didn't even call the boss on this one. Yeah, we're organized. I mean, we fit. Yeah. So anyway, it's the Little Wonder. That's heavy too. Now, for both us crafters, and if we're kind of working towards maybe doing a little production or for a production shop, worth its weight in gold, literally. I mean, it's heavy. But the point here is, whoa, for us crafters, like with that line 20 snap, if we use the Little Wonder, that is a perfect set up and down every time. We drop in our throat and anvil, and we get a perfect set, a perfect roll. But the thing with this is we've got a leather element video on the Little Wonder. Goes into all the details. But that kind of leads me into what we're going to talk about today. Trying to price our projects. So pricing our work. This is a tough one. In fact, wait a minute. Let me get back over here. Oh, Jeremy, Max, everybody's kind of helping each other out. Thank you. I can't keep up with all of these. Um, let's see. Ryan, hey Chuck, can't decide how thick to buy my first side of leather to start my collection. Any tips? What kind of depends on where you go. If you want to go with belts, holsters, I'd say 8 to 9 ounce standard belt weight. It's about an eighth of an inch thick. Um, if you like more pouches, or you're going to do like folding knife sheaths or smaller knife sheaths or cuffs or small pouches, 4 to 5 ounce. Those are the two most common weights I keep in my shop. You can do almost anything with them. And if you need to bump up in weight, you can back to back 2 4 to 5s, or a 4 to 5 8 to 9, or 2 8 to 9s back to back. That's going to give you a lot of weight. So probably one of those two. Start there and just work out from there. Fine tune your weights from there. But good question. Always a good question, Ryan. Thank you. Um, let's see. Jeremy Alexander. I've seen and used cheap skivers that are essentially the razor blade tool used in oh yeah, those things. Right. Yeah, they'll work a little bit. That's right. A good skiver is I don't necessarily I don't have a skiver in my shop. Tabletop, I've got a hand skiver. I avoid it like the plague. It's just it's hard to get it consistent. You can work that down to a feathered edge, absolutely, but that's part of the problem. It's impossible to control. There's a way you can put a block of wood if you're trying to, like, say you just want to skive maybe a half inch on one side. You can drop a block, lean the tool on that, and pull it along. So therefore, it keeps that rounded blade at an exact angle. Wow, that's a lot of trouble, and it's not the perfect answer. But a tabletop skiver is a big help. I tend not to. The one place I would use a skiver most is for buckle bend backs on belts, and I typically don't. If I'm dyeing, I'll do my bend back wet from dye, so it's already made. No cracking problems, especially with the pro dye, 99% of the time. Um, but I don't skive a lot simply because it's with anything but a tabletop, it's a little imperfect. But yeah, it's a good purchase if you're going to do a lot of belts or maybe holsters where you've got to skive your welt. That's always a big help. But short of that, sorry, I got my glasses messed up here. Short of that, the handheld, man, I use it when I have to. So, all right, so let's do this. Let's see. Oh man, yeah, we skivers. Everybody's talking about their fails with skivers. Man, that's a tool you could fail a lot with. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try to catch up here. Uh, oh, very cool, Thor. Nice comment. Bless your heart there. And Wayne Painter, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that. We struggled a little bit. Yeah. Apologies from the whole company. We didn't see the blast of business that was going to come. Nobody saw this thing coming, and some have just struggled, and some have just exploded. And we're working hard to keep up with the orders and the inbound. And so if you've had some delays, we apologize. No kidding, every one of us at Weaver does, but we're getting back on top of it. We're starting to get back in the lead there. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's jump over. Okay, we're going to jump over to this because this is a pricing our projects. In fact, you tell I'm a little hesitant here to even broach the subject because there's no perfect answer. And in fact, we've got a note here. Let's see. I read that. I think that even the pros always feel like they can never price their work. Well, it is a problem. It's a problem. Equipment will help us. Yes, if we jump up to the little wonder, but I'm going to try to keep this organized, but there's so many different thoughts here. We're going to talk about a standard manufacturing equation. Don't need to write that down. Don't need a calculator. It'll make perfect sense to you, but it'll give you an idea of how a business is going to price their products and operate with a profit, with a gross and a net profit. Okay. So even if you don't jump over, go part-time, that's my call. Go part-time. But even if you don't jump over, still, nonetheless, it's good information to have. When we're thinking about even buying somebody else's project or product, it's good knowledge to have. Okay, so I got so many notes here. Let's start here. Okay, so gun belt. This is a gun belt I made. This is hand stamped. I've got designs on it. Let's see. I think this is 9 pieces of leather, hand stamped. It's lined with buffalo. It's hand sewn, hand dyed. Each little bullet loop is sewn in one at a time. Got a Mexican basket weave to secure my lamb liner on my holster. Holster stamped, hand sewn, formed. Okay, I can't sell that for enough money. First off, to make me want to make another one, and I will when the feeling strikes me. Not so much if somebody says, "Hey, I need this in 2 weeks." Okay. Well, the problem is I can't possibly sell that for what it's worth. I don't remember how many hours it took, but it was probably 40. Okay. So if I do $60 an hour, yeah, what's that come out to? A price that no one is ever going to buy. Okay. So let's back up. So let's just use a pouch as an example. So we have a store. Oh, cool thought, right? We have a store where we've got 2 pouches. Our right pouch, machine sewn. We've dropped in a design with a stamp, with a press. We've been able to dye this in a quick fashion, and the assembly is relatively quick. Okay, that pouch is $49.99. To the left of that is a pouch that looks just like it. Well, but this pouch, it's hand tooled, it's hand sewn, it's hand dyed, it's hand assembled. Well, the price tag on that pouch is $450. Well, there's a small group of people that are going to respect the work that went into that and will purchase that pouch because it's hand sewn, it's hand tooled, it's hand dyed. Well, the other 99% of the people in the world are going to buy the $49.99 pouch because it's just as beautiful. No one can tell the difference between the two except a real crafter. So they're going to buy that product. The point is we can make beautiful projects all day long and sell them for as much as we want, but we don't have a name. We don't. Yeah, if somebody has a big name out there, yeah, they can sell every product they make for thousands of dollars and they're getting rich. Well, then there's the rest of us, right? Our projects or products have to go on design or decoration or quality. So therefore, we've got to more hit a lower price range. The higher the price, the less our prospects. The lower the price, the more our prospects. So equipment is going to play a big hand in this. Now, I mentioned earlier, we can use equipment and still call this handmade. Well, at some point, we're starting to split hairs, right? So we can hand stamp it or we can machine stamp it. Get a die made that's going to stamp that. We literally go from 2 hours of hand time down to 20 seconds of hand time. So right there, that all of that labor is gone. That's gone. We're now billing labor on maybe 30, 40 seconds because we probably had some setup, maybe a minute, right? Well, same with sewing. We can use a machine. Now we're starting to get into that point where we're splitting hairs. Well, we machine sewed this product, but technically we assembled. We may have cut it by hand. We assembled the thing by hand. So technically, yes, it is handmade. Well, we can use a clicker in 2 ways. We can die cut our project. So say a holster. Takes a couple of minutes to hand cut a holster. We're going to line it. Takes another couple of minutes to hand cut that holster. Well, on a clicker, if we have the die, we can punch both of those separately, but we can punch both of those in a minute, right? So now, again, we've dropped our labor by 90% or 95%. Well, it's cut by a machine, but technically maybe we drop in a stamp or we do some edge work and then we do our final assembly on that project. Well, yes, technically it is handmade. We use some machines in the shop to help in that, but still it is handmade. The handmade moniker really carries a lot of weight for me, because I'm in the craft and y'all are too. We're all in this craft. So we know what goes into making a project. Now, here's one thing that's funny, and I've done a lot of shows and a lot of cons. And I've heard this several times, and this makes me crazy, but it's kind of funny. So you've got a booth, you got a table, you've got your beautiful projects that you put your life and soul into, and they're beautiful, and people are buying them, and it's great. Wow, making a little money, feathering your hat. And then this one person walks up, and I don't know why that's $50. It's only $5 worth of leather, right? Boom, out of left field. Well, my response is this, and it's spot on. Well, unlike an apple, a pouch does not fall off the cow in the shape of a pouch, right? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. An apple that falls off the tree, you walk over, you pick it up and eat it. Well, a sword frog or a pouch or a cloak doesn't fall off the cow where we walk over, pick it up, put it in a box and ship it out. It makes you crazy. It does, because it's just an absolute ignorance. I don't, no, it's an ignorance of anything related to any level of business, profit or manufacturing or materials. Okay, here's the point to this. The next 50 people and the previous 50 people loved your product, loved it. Oh, compliments everywhere. People have bought things. So inhale on those folks. That person, let them go on about their business. They're not going to buy anything from you. They're just going to criticize, right? So, you know what? Put them in the past and move on. A craft show, you're going to get so many great comments from people, all scales, people that know the craft, or maybe not just the craft, but maybe know handwork, what goes into that handwork. You'll see some leather crafters, and they are just almost overjoyed at seeing a leather vendor, but also all the beautiful ideas that you've brought to the table. Okay, so backing up, it's kind of a rant there, but that's just one of the things that happens at a show. You get some crazy questions, yeah, and you'll actually start to make a list of these questions because it's quite entertaining. But for the most part, you're going to have a great time, say at the flea market or craft show. All right, so I kind of went on a rant there, but let's back up. Let's see. Okay, MKE Greenworks LLC, y'all, thank you for pitching in because it's too much. Let me back up. Okay, let me back up here because I'm missing good points. All right, MKE Greenworks. We found that focusing on the 1% of the 1% in our garden construction business works better by working for a handful of very successful people who appreciate quality. Spot on. That's exactly right. That's not who we're looking for. The people that are wow, $4.95 for a cuff. That's not who we're looking for. That you're exactly right, and that is good advice. And anybody, please help me out here. Toss in advice. Okay, so let's back up here. We're going to talk about a basic manufacturing equation. Don't need a calculator. Don't need a pen. Simply this, and this is just my opinion. Not, malpractice insurance. Just my opinion. If we're talking about a basic way to determine our costs, our gross and our net, this is it. Okay, let's back into this because it's easy to understand. So if we earn $1, we sold a product or a project for $1. Okay, 30 cents out of that dollar is going to pay for the materials. Okay, so we paid our materials. The next 30 cents out of that is going to pay us. That's our paycheck. Okay, now that's 60% or 60 cents out of that dollar. Okay, the remaining 40 cents is our gross profit. Right, that's what's left after labor and materials. Okay, we're not done yet. Yeah. Okay, so now another 30 cents. So we're doing 30, 30, and 30. Another 30 cents is going to pay for our overhead. Now, if we're working in our shop and we pay our mortgage and our electricity from the home account, that's not really a big deal, but it's something we have to consider if we're thinking about moving in the direction of actually making this thing fly. Okay, 30% overhead. Overhead is everything that isn't included in labor and materials. Okay, toilet paper, paper clips, copy paper, ink cartridges, advertising, legal fees. Not that you're going to get sued, but you'll have a lawyer because there's some paperwork that needs to be done if you're going to go LLC or maybe subchapter Fs. I was a subchapter Fs for tax purposes. We'll get to that. Anyway, so overhead, that's everything else that you have to pay for to produce a product. That leaves a dime. Okay, net profit. Doesn't sound like much. Well, we're only talking about $1, but at the same time, your vendors are paid. You're paid. Your rent's paid. We have a dime left over. That's our net profit. That's after everything is said and done. Okay, so nothing difficult here. 30, 30, 30, and 10. Okay, this is how we determine how we can price our products. Now, labor, our materials. We know what our material cost is. We can calculate how much leather it took to make a certain project. So that's easy enough. And we don't have to be exact, accurate down to the millimeter or the 16th of an inch. General, that's going to work for us. We're going to have some waste, but we'll work on cutting waste down as we get better and better at this. Good waste is about Maybe it depends on speed, right? So are you trading labor for material, right? So I know I'm going off on a rant here, but it's a good point. Say we're making a little keychain. Okay, well, we're chewing up waste. We're chewing up scrap. Absolutely. We're turning that scrap into money. Well, the problem is we're going to charge $3 for that little keychain. The labor to make that keychain was $25. Yeah. So at some point, our scrap just using. So, all right. So anyway, moving back over to our equation, hourly wage. This is a hard one. I charged, yeah, 10 years ago, 60 an hour. Well, that sounds like a lot of money. Wow, that's great. Well, no, it's not. Because first off, about 25% of our day is not going to be done making product. It's not going to be used making a product. The problem is, we have to pay for all that administrative time. Okay, we love working the leather. That's the best part of the job. Absolutely. Well, at 3 o'clock, now I got to take that product I've made and I've got to package it. I've got to box it. I've got to print out a label. I've got to take it to the post office or FedEx or put it in the mailbox. And somewhere in there, I've got to bill it. I've got to invoice it. I've got to run a credit card. Yeah, so about 25% of your day, maybe 30% of your day is sucked up in admin duties. You're going to wear 20 different hats. Your janitorial, accounting, purchasing, yeah, every bit of this. And in that same amount of time, you got to order materials. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that is going to suck up part of your day. So that hourly wage has got to cover your production as well as your admin time where you're not billing anything. You're not making any money. Well, technically you are, because if you don't do that, that doesn't sell or ship or gets advertised, right? So we've got to watch that time. Okay. Here's why a lot of folks say I don't charge right for my time. It's hard to calculate our time. We can sit down and we can do a time test. Okay. It takes me 8.5 minutes to put 7 Chicago screws in this pouch to secure the belt loops on it. And maybe in that time I can put in my closure. Okay. Well, we kind of have a feel for that time. But during that time, does the phone ring or does the mailman show up or UPS? They show up and they need a signature. Well, now that 7 minutes is now 20 minutes, or the phone rings and we're on the call with the customer. Absolutely. We're making money, but we're not making money. So our time wise, that's why time can be so difficult to nail down. Time studies, absolutely. And I've done those on almost every product in my business, on every product I made, because I can at least get a feel for how much time. The problem is when we do things by hand, we hand tool, okay, 2 hours. Yeah, $60 an hour. There's $120 on that product in labor, doesn't include anything else. So we now have to add in materials, we have to add in overhead and net profit. That small little pouch could be $300 once we get everything in there. It's just so few people are going to buy that product that it's not going to keep you in business. And here's a great point. Let's say a big suit of armor. We sell a $2,000 suit of armor every month. Okay. Wow, that's great. We're making $500 a week. Well, no, we're not. Actually, let's take out $300 for materials. Let's take out another $300 for overhead. Let's take out another, well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go straight to labor. Okay, so now let's see, 14. Now we're down to $1,400. Let's say it took 80 hours to make that suit of armor. Yeah, we're down to like $15 an hour. That ain't going to cut it, right? That's not going to cut it. So I don't have the perfect answer for billing our materials when we jump over to production. Okay. This is what I've heard from a number of people. You know what? As crafters, I've heard this from number of people that say, if I'm just going to sell a product. It's not a business. It's not a side business. I'm just going to sell a product. They will typically take their materials and multiply that by either 2 or 3. That keeps the price reasonable. We're not trying to get rich. We're not trying to produce a net or a gross profit, but that's going to cover our materials and that's going to pay us a little bit. Very cool. Okay. Now, here's my point. I worked full-time for a print company while I got my business going. Um, I was working some nights till maybe midnight or 1 in the morning, getting back up at 6 in the morning. At that point, I felt like I was confident I could jump over and start my own business. I had enough business to sustain me. Well, it was rough in the beginning. Yeah. Well, but I eventually worked my way up to where I was comfortable full time. It just takes a while. Here's the key. If we're working full time, okay, we've got vacations, we've got benefits, we've got weekends, we've got a paycheck. Yeah. So anything we do on the side, that's just extra income. And that's great. As soon as we jump over to a business, now we have got to make enough profit to pay the bills, pay our vendors, and make a living. And that is tough to do until we jump over to equipment. Well, now let's use that little wonder. Let's set our rivets with that. Let's set spots with that. That can knock out a row of spots in no time where we would be doing those by hand or a 4-ton clicker. So now we can cut our patterns. 95% of our labor is cut off there. We can cut our patterns, but also we can emboss our patterns, or we can stamp our logo in our patterns or in our projects. So therefore, we got a little upfront cost there. But in the long run, that absolutely pays for itself, like in about 5 projects. Yeah, depending on how big they are, simply because of the labor savings. Our materials, we can't really affect that. Now, we can always push for a nickel a foot less and bargain, but for the most part, our material costs are pretty static. On the good side there, we know what they are. Yeah, there's no floating target there. We know what our cost is there. So that's a big help. So rolling along on this, I could just keep going, but my opinion is stay full time, do it part time, do some craft shows, do some flea markets, have like an Etsy store, an eBay store. Now, eBay, in my opinion, again, kind of feels more like the bargain hunters. You know, the people that are bargain hunting. Where Etsy's drawing in a crowd that more understands and respects the artistic end of it. That again, not scientific. I don't know the stats there, but just to me, Etsy feels like it's more geared towards us, towards selling our products. So therefore, our customer prospects, are a little more fine tuned. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. If we say we go back to the armor, well, in our country, there's maybe 1,000 people that can afford the suit of armor and want to buy that suit of armor. Well, that ain't much, So we got to work out into a variety of products. With my little business, I think I had 160 products I sold. Well, there was like 20 belts, and 20 pouches. So it was in groups, categories, but I had a number I had a good variety of overall projects and then a variety within a subgroup. So therefore I had products as little as $6.95, and maybe up to a full suit of armor was about $2,000, some light tooling on that. Well, the combination there is a big help. I always said I had the Taco Bell business plan. Well, this makes sense. This will make sense. It sounds funny, but I used like 5 kinds of leather. But with those 5 kinds of leather, I made 160 something projects or products. So inventory was very easy. Ordering was very easy. I knew which leather I was going to use for which set of products, but at the same time, I wouldn't make just one. I wouldn't sit down and make, well, I got an order for one. No, let's sit down and make 4, because let's say it takes 5 hours. Well, let's say it takes an hour to make one, but it takes 4 hours to make 5 or 6. So right there, we're in the plus. We're saving labor, we're saving time. Therefore, that cost can come down a little bit. Man, am I rolling on this? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to go this much on it, but there are so many aspects to keeping our business running. Now, if you do it on the side, you really start to get some work in. You get to a point where you've got some savings. Big point, and I'll get to that. You've got some savings in there that can sustain you for 3 to 6 months. Or if you really, you're jamming right out of the gates, that'll put a little bit of that into some equipment, upgrade, cut our time without cutting our quality. That's the biggest point. And that's what I tried to do for 13 years. Now, I don't even know if I want to go into this, but okay, but here's the point. My business, My business opinion may not be the best. 2008, my business died in 30 days. Okay. There are things out there that are going to hit COVID. That's the reason I mentioned this. There are things out there that are going to come completely out of left field. So October of 2008, I'm jamming along. One person shop doing about 15, 16,000 a month. Well, as a crafter, that sounds great. As a business person, their first question was, are you even making a living? I wasn't getting rich, but I was doing what I love. Okay. Well, October of 2008, about 15, maybe 16, that was a pretty good month in Halloween. November of 2008, I had about 10% of that business. By December of 2008, in 13 years, I never had a board, 5 across, 6 down nails. I never had a board that wasn't totally packed. I could never keep up with the business. December 2008, I had one $33 order on my board. Yeah, my savings lasted about 3 months. Yeah, about 3 months. Total disaster. No business can plan to have a stagnant economy for 8 straight years. No one can have that kind of savings. So sometimes things come out of nowhere. But my point there is, yeah, you know what? Things can happen. Things can happen that are totally out of your control. But don't concentrate on those. Don't concentrate on those. What it did for me was that I had to struggle. Therefore, I found out mainly through the business. I wouldn't say struggle, but the point was I had to come up with ways to cut that labor without cutting my quality. That was the point. And sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not. Um, but those products, if you're making a few products and you sell a couple of them and you're just not getting what you want out of those, drop them. Drop them and replace that with a project where you are making money. In a retail store, we call it expensive real estate. Right. So if you've got a corner that's selling $10 pieces of scrap, or you've got a corner that's selling silver work or buckles, yeah, world of difference. What are you going to do? Have scraps over there, or are you going to have good product over there? Same kind of theory. If you've got some products on your website that are dud, cast them off, move on, put something in there, see what happens. But my point here is we can absolutely sell our products. Absolutely. It's just the way we go about it. In my opinion, it's best if we do it as a side business. Here's one funny point. We all think sitting in a cubicle, man, I got 3 bosses. I got 3 bosses. Well, when you jump over to a business, every time a customer places an order, you have a boss. You could have 15 bosses, right? Because when it becomes a business, now we have due dates. Now we got to make sure that thing gets out. There are all kinds of things that we now have to jump on. So all told, it is a blast, but it's still a job. It's still a job. That's exactly right. Okay, so I really went on a rant on that. 348, and it feels like we've been here 15 or 20 minutes. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. I've totally lost all threads over here. Let's see. Stephen Reddick, that's very cool. Thank you. Yeah, business failure. It was a disaster. But another side note, when you operate your own business, you don't have holidays. You don't have weekends. You don't have vacation, right? Yeah, I'm giving you the bad side of it. Ooh, it's all doom and gloom. It isn't. But there are things we need to think about. When you're running a small business, when you're flush with business, you don't have time to take a vacation. When you don't have any business in-house, you can't afford to take a vacation, right? The point with a full-time job is we have holidays, we have weekends, we have a paycheck, we have our benefits. Yeah, there's a lot of pluses there. But it can be exceptional. At 13 years, I loved it. We had Ren Fair booths, let's see, up in Wisconsin, Dallas, Scarborough Fair, one of the prettiest fairs I've ever been at a booth. We shared a booth at Houston. We did the cons, Gen Con, Dragon Con, Mega Con. Okay, here's a story. Mega Con. We were there for the first year and we did not do well. They were new. They were new. They built a great convention, but the gentleman was new. He didn't do as much advertising as we'd hoped. It got down to Saturday night. Okay, we'd been at this fair 2 days now, drove all the way from Atlanta. I made all this inventory. Saturday night, we had a decision to make. It was me and my friend Scott worked with him. We could either eat dinner or stay in a hotel room. We could not afford to do both. Yeah, welcome to small business, right? So we ate a big buffet and slept in the truck, and we limped home on our change. Um, you know what? That was really early in the game. Didn't have a lot of savings, but nonetheless, you're going to have some hilarious things. Some unpleasant things happen, but it's just like mistakes in leatherwork. We learn from this. I'm not going to let that happen again. Yeah, but the overall point, I'm rolling on this. The overall point is that working for myself, I developed a work ethic. Work all day, all afternoon, all evening on the weekends, and I'm happy to work Dragon Con. I've worked Labor Day weekend every day, 10 years now, maybe 10 years, something like that. We've had a booth and panels and demos and whatnot. Um, wow, you really start to build up a good work ethic. So if by chance you do jump out of that, you're gonna skyrocket in whatever you decide to do, because you know what? Work becomes the primary point. And yeah, okay, that's enough the Chuck Zen, blah blah. Um, let's see. Okay, Bob, the Little Wonder, does it double up as a press for stamping a logo? It can. I'm a little behind on this because I'm a little disconnected from the home office, from the mothership. I believe we have now released um, a plug. It's called a little plug, so that you can take a letter stamp or a 3D stamp, put that in the plug, and that will go in the Little Wonder, and you can use that as a press. Now, you'll have to get your stamp made to accommodate that plug, and I can. You know what? There's a good homework right there. Let me find a good place to write that down as a note. Um, let's see. I'm gonna write in Bob and plug. I'm not gonna remember what that means. Um, so next week when I come back with no homework done, Bob, sorry. No, no, I'll remember. I'll do my best to remember that. I'll look into that homework for next week. I'll get you a good answer on that one, Bob. Let's see. Let's see. Chris Lee, UK, evening from Cornwall. Brother, man, right back to you. Let's see. Okay, Max, I fell a little behind there. Um, let's see. Okay, I saw one caskets or something. I don't know what that's coming from. Um, let's see. Okay, let's see. Is this Dimitri Sirota? Thank you. Good question. Do you have any tips on punching, stitching holes through 4 layers of 3 to 4 ounce leather for a card holder? Yes, and that you're exactly right. If we don't keep that baby straight up and down, we run the risk of coming out of the edge. And boy, when we're stacking 3 to 4s, that's going to start to get some meat there. What I would do is glue 2 pieces and punch, then glue my other two, maybe one, excuse me, or 2 pieces, and then punch again. So therefore, we're not trying to go through all 4 pieces of leather. Those first two already got a good guide on those. So those are going to lead our tines into those back two. Now there's one more step. I might say maybe do my face, maybe face in my second piece if this is possible. I haven't seen the product, but you'll kind of get the feel where I'm going with here. So maybe chisel our first pieces with a 6 or a 4. So we're making good time. Then come back in with a 1. So our holes are already punched. It's going to be a little more tedious, but with a single tine, we can be absolutely sure that straight up and down. But again, it's easy out. It's easy in and it's easy out, and those first 2 holes are going to keep guiding you through. It's a little more tedious going with 1, but that's what I'll do for a holster because I really don't have 6 or 7 inches, but I want to make sure that each hole is clean and straight. That's a good question. It's tough to do, but see if doing 2 and then the other or the other 1 or other 2, see if that helps. See if that helps. I hope that's good advice for you. It's worked for me. So let me put my mouse pad down here. Don't want to shake my table. Quality table. Yeah, I'm lucky not to be on cardboard boxes here. Oh man, let's see. Mascarla. My Scarla. Hi Chuck, love your videos. Thank you very much. I hope they're good. I hope it's good information, and I hope they're made well. That's my biggest stress point. Let's see. Thanks to you, I discovered a new passion of mine. You know what? Welcome to our family. You just walked into 10,000 friends, and I mean, look at the tips. Everybody helps everybody out. I hope you have a good time with it. I hope you make some beautiful stuff. eventually we're going to come out of the 1920s in our broadcast abilities here, and we're going to be able to maybe show some insets or share my screen. When we're able to do that, y'all, send in some pictures of your projects. I would love to see these, but at the same time, for everybody else out there, oohs and ahs, right? We're all going to ooh and ah and how pretty your project is, but at the same time, ideas. Oh man, and not just projects, but the idea possibilities that go with those projects, or shapes, or colors, or stitch lines. Yeah, I know. I want to get there so fast. It's I'm not keeping up with technology, but at the same time, it's not keeping up with me. That's right. That's right. So yeah, I'm not keeping up. I'm not. Um, let's see. Okay, Tim Costello, right now, it's a hobby that pays for itself. That's the best of both worlds because you're earning some money with your craft, but it's gravy. It's the gravy money. You're paying for your materials. You're making a little money on the side that allows you to buy some more materials or equipment, or maybe buy some new hardware, something that you haven't seen that you've had your eye on. That didn't make sense. Something that you haven't purchased, but you've had your eye on. That makes a little more sense. Yeah, that to me, that's the best of both worlds. Now, again, this working for a living thing cuts right in the middle of my day, right? Yeah, but there's so many benefits. Here's one when you work for yourself. When you work for somebody else, bankers, your friend. When you work for yourself, bankers don't want to talk to you. Yeah, right. So let's keep moving on. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that one where it is. Um, let's see. Okay. Oh man. Vanessa Kitty, you're having power issues. All right, so yeah, prayers up the east coast of the U.S. We had a bad hurricane go by, y'all. But just seeing some of the news, y'all, prayers are with you on that one. Prayers are with you. I hope everything comes back together for you. Uh, let's see. Yeah, okay. So Dimitri, let's see. I might have missed one here. Dimitri, coming back to you there. Stitch size of your thread. Yeah, me. I like a big, thick thread. I like the 0.8 millimeter. But it depends on the project, because if we're making a little card wallet and we use like a 1.2 millimeter thread, it's going to look ridiculous on that. It's going to be huge. But if we do like maybe a 0.6 millimeter, that's going to fit right in with the size of the project. Well, now a saddle, say we're using a saddle or we're making a saddle, 1.2 millimeter, that's absolutely needed. We've got to have that, but it's not out of proportion to the project. So the size of the thread mainly is kind of dependent on the project. But I'm with you. I think somebody, let's see, Christopher, you're exactly right. Um, I think it was Christopher. Sorry if anyway, I like a big prominent stitch line. It's hand sewn. I want that to stand out. But at the same time, it gives it kind of maybe a little bit of a Western look. Now, I love the Western. I love the period. I love the two. But I'm kind of a little more period, but the West, I like that. I like the bright white stitch line on just about any color because it pops. Now it can get dirty. For those of us who are new at sewing, I'll go with a very long leader, especially if I'm doing white thread. If I need 4 times the length, I might go with 6 because the leader, the bend back at our needle, that's going to pick up dye as we sew through. Well, if that's way past our last hole, doesn't matter. We'll never see that. We cut it, we trim it, we hide or not. But the big point here, was that a fly? There's one fly in my shop, and he's got to be my buddy, right? Anyway, the point here is when we hammer down or tamp down that stitch line, it spreads that white out a little bit, makes it very prominent, very consistent. So, yeah, good questions, and y'all, thank you for helping out with the answers here. 0.6 and 0.8, not 0.06 and 0.8. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm talking so fast, the brain not happening. Yeah, not so 0.6. That's right. 0.06 very little. Yeah, don't sew with 0.06. Sorry, Mary. Thank you for catching that. That's a good catch. Good catch. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, Bob Dorsett. Yeah. With my old company, I used the spun. And it was so overwaxed. And it's funny because I forget about this. If I was using the thicker thread on a spool, I would be sewing along and wax would be building up. It's on my needles. It's on my fingers. I'm getting little piles of wax on my on each hole, each chisel hole. so overly ridiculously waxed. When I finish, I have to come back with a suede brush and brush all that wax off. Well, that's a spun, either a 4 or 6 strand spun. It's not bad. It's not bad, poly base. Um, but when I jumped over to the Ritza, it's a braid. It's a braid, and I love it. I've fallen. I work for Weaver. We sell Ritza, but no kid, that's a genuine comment. I love the Ritza. But two, for so long with my other company, we had 4 colors of thread. Really, white, brown, black, and beige. Blah blah. The Ritzas are beautiful. There's red, green, blue, yellow. I think there's a seafoam. I'd have to get out my catalog, but the colors are beautiful. And if you drop in, say maybe you've resisted and you've done, say you've got a black. I know I'm rolling here. I'm sorry. It's a good point. So anyway, so we got a black project, and say we did a resist, so we've got some red. We've got a red tool or stamp piece. Drop in a red stitch line, man, that makes the design and that stitch line just pop. But the point here is that when you look at that project, you can tell that project was planned from the start. This wasn't halfway through the project, oh, maybe I'll add a stitch line. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it looks like it's an addition and but if everything's planned out before you start that project, it's going to look like it. It's going to look like it. And a perfect example is a suit of armor. If we start that design first, it's 128. Well, it's between 108 and 164 pieces, depending on the hands. Anyway, if you start that project from the beginning, well, I'm going to use this stamp design. I'm going to use this type of edge. I'm going to use this color of thread, this dye color. And you're going to use that through the whole suit of armor looks like it was planned that way, as opposed to half the armor has this design, half the armor has this design. That's not bad, depending on your thing. There goes another word. Man, I'm losing words fast. On your period or your era, pushed together armor looks good. That's more historically accurate. But in my opinion, if I want to make a suit, let's start from scratch and let's make every piece on that suit look like it was designed at the same time. It's a world of difference. Yeah, okay, another rant there. Look at that. We're already after 4. I hadn't even gotten to questions yet. Y'all, I hope this isn't too long-winded for you. I try to plan these out, and sometimes, well, I don't know. I just roll, and that's not, I don't know. I'll let y'all be the judge of that. But let me push forward here of all these. Okay. All right, Richard B. All right, if you're with us, forgive me. This question is like 3 weeks old, but it's a good point because we're talking about equipment. Let's see, a drill press in the background. Yeah, we've got a leather element video, and I think it's 7 ways you can use your drill press in a shop. So look for that. Great tool, and it's a tabletop, so we don't have to buy the big metal shop piece. Right, it's a tabletop, very affordable. I think mine. It's one of the standard brands. But it's 30 years old now, and it's still going. Looks like it's 30 years old. Still going. Love it and use it regularly. Look for the leather element on that. But that brings up another point. An Arbor Press. We all think about using an Arbor Press, and we sell one, a tabletop, and it's a nice one. That's not a bad way to go. That's not a bad way to go. But it's slow. That's the only point. I had one, and I had some dies made. I had some big wristbands that had a dragon scale pattern in them. It's a good way to go. It's a little tedious. Ours is actually made for crimping fittings onto like lead ropes. But you can absolutely use it to cut. You can use it to stamp. It's just very slow. It's very tedious, but it's also very unscientific. And I keep using that word. I can't think of the right word now. I'm just talking too fast, thinking too fast. It's hard to get it just right. Okay, it'll work. It'll work for you. But the point here is go with a 4-ton clicker. It's going to be more money, but now you can actually set your depth. And I love this one. I've got one. I've got the 4-ton. It's good for our smaller projects. Say you're cutting saddlebags. It's not going to be. It'll work, but you're going to stress the tool. I would say if you're doing like saddlebag shaped panels or that size or larger, I'd say go with the 8-ton. bump up to that. The 4-ton is great for our smaller projects, lighter weight leathers. Anyway, so all right, so yeah, gotta roll on that one. Gibby's wife, if you're with us this week, if I run out of dye, may I substitute magic marker or shoe polish on veg tan leather? Shoe polish, it's kind of a polish. It's not a great. It's you can, but I would suggest against it. But a Sharpie, on the other hand, for your edges particularly, that's a great way to go. But if you run out of dye, that's one of those things you need to have in your shop. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Barnaby Sanchez, we got one. Is it better to use higher weight leather for knife sheaths? And what weight should I start with? Man, again, it's one of those that depends on the knife. So if we're just looking at a little scaler, like a 4 to 5 ounce, we're going to mold it to the knife. Absolutely, 4 to 5 ounce. If you're going to do side sewed, where we've got maybe a stitch line on both sides, or maybe we can fold that over, I might go with a 7 to 8 ounce. We can bump up to an 8 to 9 ounce. Going to be exceptionally durable. But I may say, depending on the knife, either a 4 to 5 ounce or maybe a 7 to 8 ounce. 4 to 5 is going to do good if you've got like a folding blade that's going to go in a pouch. That'd be a good weight to mold, and it'd be beautiful. 7 to 8 maybe is a good weight if we're going to go with a fixed blade. Now, if it gets big, if we get a big Bowie in there, might go up to 8 to 9 or maybe even 9 to 10 ounce. But you're going to be good if you stick somewhere in those two areas. Okay, let's see. Okay, Stephen Reddick, sorry. Check Craigslist for drill presses. Yeah, there you go. Very helpful in our shop. It's a good piece of equipment. Holsters, particularly, because it goes back to multiple layers. If I bring my holster around, I've got a welt and a face and a back. 3 8 to 9s. That's a big chunk of leather. The trick with a drill press is that drill bit is perfectly straight every time, and that drill bit just mows through that leather. Now, I would use something, I think it's a 16th inch bit, and I'm not sure what the millimeter is on that. Sorry about that. But about a 16th or even smaller. We need a small hole on that, because you've probably seen projects, or not projects, or kits where the kit has the stitching holes, but they're huge. So when you stitch that together, it looks ridiculous. You see hole and little stitch, hole and little stitch. So we want a small hole. We need a hole that's just big enough to get our 2 needles through with that thread bending back. Or 1 needle at a time. Go take 1 needle through, pull it tight. So we pull that thread against the edge so we know we're not splitting that thread. Run that other needle through. Again, on a holster, we're only doing 8, 9, maybe 10 inches. So just 1 at a time is not bad, but it's going to be beautiful. Now, there's some folks out there that say, a drill hole is not as strong as a chisel hole. Well, I can't really tell you. I've never done a test, but I've never had a drill hole give out. Right? Hold. I've never had a drilled hole. So on that one, I don't really have an opinion, but the drill press, major help in your shop when you're doing thicker pieces. So Christopher, yeah, thanks for everybody for helping out. Thank you everybody for helping out. I can't talk enough and fast enough to get all these right. Let's see. Okay, Max Wright. Does anyone know if a 1.5 inch oblong will be tight for a belt to loop through for holsters and sheaths and such? I would go here. If your belt is 1.5 inch, then it's going to be right on. The problem is that is a 1.5 inch oblong. So therefore the ends of it will bend before you get to 1.5. So I would say for a 1.5 inch, I might go with a 1 5/8. Now we don't have a 1 5/8 inch oblong, but just step it a little bit so you get just a little more room so that belt will move smoothly through those oblongs instead of trying to tug it. That's going to bend the belt. It's going to bend the holster, the sheath, but just a little bit larger so that belt will smoothly move through those oblongs. But that's an excellent question and a good point too. Okay, Wayne Painter. Is there some kind of chat available for us crafters outside of live? Um, there's a good, good homework point. Um, let's see. Wayne. Actually, I don't. That'll be on my notes. Um, that'll be on my notes. I'm not going to write that down. But yeah, that'll be some homework for next week. Let me see what I can come up with for chat groups. Oh, they've got to be everywhere. But I'm just, I don't know. I'm not a hermit. I'm just not out there on social media. Facebook, I'll look at it once in a while. Yeah, if you friend me on Facebook, please forgive me. I jump over there and I click friends. It's just not something I'm on a lot. Um, I'm on my work table, yeah, making stuff. But my wife's always on. I'm just not a very social platform person, and that's the worst possible trait for somebody that does videos and lives. I should be all over the social media. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm falling behind. I'm falling behind on technology. Um, but yeah, okay, so we're well after 4. We're gonna start to wrap it up. Um, there's one point I wanted to make. Beirut, Lebanon. They have had a major disaster. So all of our prayers. Anybody wants to send those fine folks a prayer? I know we've had some leather crafters chime in from Lebanon. Um, Prayers to you. Absolutely. Anybody wants to send a prayer to those fine folks? They've had a major, major disaster. Um, and the east coast of the U.S. We lost some lives there with the hurricane that thing just mowed right up the east coast. In the south, in Florida and the Gulf Coast, we're used to hurricanes. They are not. They are way up there, and it's just out of left field for those folks to get a bad hurricane. So, again, for y'all, for everybody, prayers are with you. But great, y'all. Um, Very cool. I can't. I want to read every. Wow. Evgeny Stavrev. Let's see. I graduated from a professional high school with haberdashery. Wow. Used a lot of math formulas. Wow. Maybe you've probably got more of these than I do. I've got like 2. How to determine circumference and radius and diameter. And a equation, standard manufacturing equation. Beyond that, math is not one of my strong points. I would love to hear more about that. That's cool. Very cool. Thank you for not only being here, but putting in a cool comment. Wow. I'm gonna have to wrap my head around that a little bit. Um, let's see. Yeah, okay. There's a good one. Star Coffin. Good one. Very good one. I'm gonna put that one up to the boss. Let's see if we can. Who knows what can come of this? Oh man, Ron, Fayetteville, Georgia. Oh, my family way back is from down around Fayetteville. And I think Doc Holliday is from somewhere around Fayetteville. Let's see. Uh, okay, let's see. Christopher Gold, how long have you been working with leather? Thank you for the comment. I'm so glad. I hope they're good for you. Let's see. I got anyway. Um, College. I graduated college in 86, so maybe 85. Man, wow, does the time go by fast. For you younger folks, wow. How'd I get here so quick? Yeah, so about 84, 85, somewhere in there. Um, let's see. Let's see. Okay, Ron, it looks like we've got some information. Um, let's see, Christopher again. Thank you so much. Y'all, thank you for every comment, every question, every bit of help that I can't get to for helping all other. We're almost a close family. It is. And anybody that's new to leather crafting, I hope you get that feel. Right now, we're all disconnected. This is just weird for everybody. But once we get this thing back behind us, go to a guild meeting. They're great people. Go to a leathercraft show. There's several across. I'll try to list those as they're coming up. We're kind of out of whack right now, so I don't know what's going. But everybody, yeah, look for some groups around you and chat. So I'll work on that as well. But that'll give you a little more feel of being somewhat connected. Almost as a rule, we're kind of in our shop by ourselves. We might have, my wife will work on some leather here and there. I've got a friend, he'll come over and we'll make a wallet. But we don't really have close leathercraft friends. If you do, asset, yeah, worth its weight in gold. But most of us we're a little bit separated. So if you get a chance to meet some other crafters, or build a guild in your area, start a guild. They're a lot of fun. And everybody is just great people. So let's see. Okay. Oh man, Bob Haney, what about making an axe belt holder, Chuck? Maybe with a Sam Brown button for a keeper. That's a cool idea. I've got so many. I've got 3 pages of these, and I can't do these fast enough. But Bob, I'll write that. I'll put that on the list. Absolutely. We've got a knife sheath, but we don't have an axe ring, and that would be cool. So let's see. James, I might have missed a comment there. But y'all, these are all great comments. Everybody, thank you for pitching in. Typical leather crafters. How can we help? That's exactly right. Y'all, we're going to wrap up for this week. I don't know how much help I was on the business side of this. Yeah, it's not my place to tell you how to do that. I can just give you some information on that. And y'all, you know what? Make the best call. But you know what? If you're so busy, you'll know when it's time to jump over to pro. That you'll know and it'll be completely obvious. Yeah, you're running your business on coffee and you're not sleeping. There's 2 big hints, right? Yeah, my business success was based on coffee, right? Yeah. So anyway, y'all, it's an absolute pleasure. As always, to see the comments that you look forward to this, that makes my day. I will live on that all the way to next Wednesday. We'll wrap it up here. Again, I will read every one of these comments. Mary, thank you. Right back to you. Yeah, I'm trying to read these without my glasses. I can't read them with my glasses on. Well, I mean, I sort of can, just the readers. But yeah, I don't want to call mispronounce somebody's name. But y'all, as always, I hope everybody has a good Thursday, a good Friday, a good weekend, a good Wednesday evening. Y'all, it's a pleasure. I've said too much thus far, just on one rant after another. Total disorganization. It's amazing I can even make a product, right? So, but y'all, thank you very much. I'll read all these comments. Bless your hearts. Thank you. Prayers to everybody. Bless everybody. It's a pleasure to spend some time with friends all over our country and all over our world. Y'all have a good week. I will look forward to next week. I don't want to stop talking. I want to just keep reading every comment. We'd be here through the evening. So y'all have a good week. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. Looking for my glasses so I can make sure I hit the right button down here. Y'all, again, it's been a pleasure, and I really hope you feel the same way. Y'all, take care. We'll see you next week.